Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Baldur's Gate. So let's go and check out the second floor of the Candlekeep Library. Bendalis. Hello Seville, it is good to see you here once again. A pity you could not have returned during a more restful time. Why, what is going on that would cause you such stress? You always were a worrier, I'm sure all is well. What business is it of yours? Why? What have you heard? Oh, it's nothing, I'm sure. It's just that, well, things just seem a little strange around here. Those decidedly unmerchant-like merchants, for one. And some of our own monks are acting odd as well. One fellow in particular. I'm sure it is nothing. You should not worry yourself so much. Yeah, let's not go with that. Really? And who would that be? Well, there is this fellow named Kovaras. I assume he is a visiting sage of some sort, but he seems more interested in our guests than the tomes. He makes me nervous. I think he's had the same effect on others as well. Young Shistol has been out of sorts for days now. He is not as thick-skinned as I. You remember how nervous he used to be. He's quite the opposite now. Seems like a totally different person. I worry about him. I should go. It has been nice speaking with you. Alright, so discover us fellow. We need to check him out, and we should also take a look at his Shistol. He has said something, Bendalis has said something very telling, that he seems like a totally different person, which probably means he's a doppelganger. Alright.
You need something, stranger?
Who is this? Oh, this is Kovaras. I thought I might find you somewhere around here. Allow me to introduce myself. Perhaps another time. There is some more research I am currently working on, which demands my attention. Please do. My name is Kovaras. Sounds a bit like someone we might know, but I don't want to give away too much. I used to work for your father, running messages to his Harper friends in Waterdeep. Before he passed on, he entrusted this ring to me and asked that I give it to you should evil ever befall him. Will you take it? Well, I don't think we should accept gifts so easily from this guy, because we have already heard much about how he's a very ominous guy, so we should be wary of his, his charity. Well, evil befell him, alright, but I want nothing of your baubles. And what evil befell him, Kovaras? If it is my father's will, then I shall wear it. Thank you for your kindness to him, Kovaras. Let's go with number 2. What evil befell him? You were there, you saw it all. A woman, an armored figure, 2 ogres wielding clubs and 2 archers. But Gorian's petty magic was little use against them, was it not? And you fled with your tail between your legs, hiding amidst the trees out until dawn broke. And now it comes full circle, doesn't it? The Iron Throne so close that you can almost touch them and wreak your revenge for that night. What the hell? How the hell does he know all this? Is the question, I think. So it sounds like Kovaras might have been there also, from what he told us. Or maybe he's a diviner of some sort. It's also strange that he thinks that I should wreak my revenge on the Iron Throne for Gorian's murder. As far as we know, the Iron Throne didn't really have anything to do with his murder. You know me well, Kovaras, and my father too. Give me that ring and let me find my vengeance. No. You're right, Kovaras, I was there. Myself, my father and 6 others who tried to kill us. Where were you, if you know so much? If you be so void of trust, I am surprised you have made it this far. It is of little matter, go seek your vengeance, or your doom at the hand of the Iron Throne. I wash my hands of it. Alright, so let's remember or recall that night when Gorion was murdered. So as it was uttered by Koveras, there were 6 people who attacked us. A woman, an armored figure, 2 ogres wielding clubs, and 2 archers. Now we know that the 2 ogres and the 2 archers were killed by Gorion. We saw that. But we didn't see the woman die and the armored figure die. And it was the armored figure who killed him. So, going by this, if this Koveras was there is a very good chance that he is the guy who was in the armor. So we could take our revenge right now by killing him. But that will not be so easy as he will leave just now. Yes. Alright. So, let's take a look around this floor. There are a bunch of bookshelves here. Oh, History of Shadowdale 11. That's a lot. I don't know if I want to read the entire series. 10. Priest of Ogma, let's talk to him.
These walls contain the world's knowledge.
You put your left foot in, you take your left foot out. You put your left foot in, you shake it all about. Ah, I didn't see you there. The wisdom of Ogma manifests itself in many ways. I'll be on my way now. Alright, so that was a dancing monk. This is the History of Shadowdale 6.
Excuse me, but I'm late for my classes.
Reader, he says. Hey, I remember you. Your father was Gorion, wasn't it? You should see all the strange fellows who've come to the keep these days. 3 men work for that mercantile organization, the Iron Throne, I think they call it. They've been meeting with the 2 spookiest people I've ever seen. It's like clockwork. Every day they meet on the 3rd floor to discuss who knows what kind of dastardly plots. Haha, I'm sure they are just boring old merchants counting their money. Yeah, I'm sure. We still don't know who the leaders of the Iron Throne are meeting here, by the way.
But in his doom he shall spawn a score of mortal progeny.
This is the History of Shadowdale 3. Oh.
So saith the wise Alondo.
Seville, you look distressed. What is it, child? Nothing, it's nothing. I'm just finding it very hot in here. There is trouble, Chanter. You must help me. Let's go with number 2, as that will probably lead us to a better information than number 1 would. You are right, I have felt it too. Pray tell me how this aging frame can help you. I must know who visited the keep lately and where they have spent their time. Well, we already know a bunch of that. As Chanter, you must know the history of this keep better than any other. I have grown up here, and I have played within its walls, but there were many places I was never allowed to go. I am older now, and I will go where I must. But please, are there any places in this keep of which I was never told? So that's an interesting question. I don't know why we would ask that, but let's do it anyway, because the answer might be interesting as well. But what right have you to ask that, child? I'm not a child anymore, Chanter. The entire keep is in danger, even its most secret and sacred places. Please, Chanter, Gorion would have had it so. I am growing old, and the young are not so young anymore, nor the carefree so carefree. Alaundo the seer, the one who founded this fortress of knowledge, and whose prophecies I chant each day, he is entombed deep in the bowels of this place. I tell you this, Seville, because you are right. It is time you knew, but I beg of you, in Gorian's name, do not venture into those trapped and warded halls unless some higher power than myself bids you go. Your stepfather would never forgive me for your loss. I must go now, child. Seville, it is time to chant the seer's prophecies as I always have. Alright. So that sounds like we need to visit there sometime, and we should keep in mind that in those bowels of Candlekeep there are many traps, as he said. And here we have the history of Shadowdale 3. So let me take a quick look at it. History of the Shadowdale. Joadeath and the Tyrist Massacre. The past 100 years have been an example of the best and worst of the Lords of Shadowdale. All have been non-native to the Dalelands, though all made the land their home. A century ago, the Lord of the Dales was one Joadeath, a stiff-necked agnostic who denied the power of any god, good or evil, and used force to back up his belief. During this time there was a great deal of religious persecution, including the massacre of Tyrists on Watcher's Knoll. Joadeath was eventually killed by a beast of the nether plains summoned by parties unknown, which then proceeded to rampage through the Dale. The beast was killed, and Shadowdale rescued by the spellcasters Omri and Saloon. Omri was proclaimed Lord by acclamation. Alright. And I think this was number 4 or 6, I don't remember. This was 4, okay. Let's take a look then. History of Shadowdale. Omri rules in peace. The longest period of peaceful rule was by Lord Omri and his wife Saloon, better known as the Witch of Shadowdale. Alright, so they are the guys who have defeated the demon. They ruled over the community for 40 years, a period of extended peace with their neighboring Dales, nations and elven peoples. It was this very peace and power which made the Dale the target for the attacks and sabotage by the Black Network, Xantharim. They sought and still seek to control the trade from the Moon Sea to the Sword Coast, and desired to make Shadowdale a vassal state of Xanthal Keep. Lord Omri's rule ended tragically when he was assassinated by Xanthish agents. Okay. I wonder if we can find more books in this series. History of the Dragon Coast. I don't know if we've read this. Maybe not. Or did we? Verovan. I don't think we have. This name is not familiar to me. History of the Dragon Coast. The history of the Dragon Coast is the history of money, particularly the darker side of the coin. Situated on the main trade routes between the Inner Sea and the Sword Coast, these lands never coalesced into a solid, coherent nation like Cormyr or Sembia. Instead, small petty city-states have risen and fallen, powered by greed and the most powerful merchant or pirate faction of the day. As a result, the Dragon Coast has always been home of the smuggler, the pirate, the rogue, and the hired killer. It has been the place where those seeking to skirt the laws of more civilized nations to the north make landfall. It is here that the Red Wizards gain their access to the western heartlands, and where the Cult of the Dragon launches its plots to the south. And it is here that independent secret societies and assassins' guilds have their greatest power. The last semblance of organized resistance to this trend was the reign of Verhoeven, the King of Westgate. The monarchy of Westgate had long worked closely with the various mercantile and pirate factions, but Verhoeven attempted to stem the growing power of the merchant houses and petty lords. His sudden and mysterious death without acceptable heirs in 1248 DR opened the door of much of what now is commonplace in the Dragon Coast: corruption and treachery. It should be noted that while Verhoeven's name is still venerated in these lands, better known is Immerk, the greatest of the inner sea pirates, a brash and flamboyant rogue who united the pirate fleet beneath him and ruled from 1164 DR to his death in 1201 DR. Such is it in the Dragon Coast that good people are venerated, but the power of darker rogues is imitated. Well, isn't it the case in all countries? I think even in reality that's a trend that's going on. Reader.
Excuse me, but I'm late for my classes.
He's also studying the martial strategy of Rhaegar II. Whatever class is requiring this knowledge, all the readers seem to be studying for it. History of the North 1. Did I read about this? I guess not. Let's take a look. History of the North, the first flowering. For millennia, gold elves dwelt in Ilafarn, where Waterdeep now stands, and Earlen, along the river Shining. From their ornate forest cities, they traded with emerging human nations like Netheril and Ilosk, and repulsed the attacks of the goblin races. Meanwhile, dwarven clans united as the nation of Delzoun, named for the dwarf who forged the Union. The nation, existing primarily underground, extended from the Ice Mountains to the Nether Mountains. Silver Moon Pass was its western border and the Narrow Sea its eastern shore. Orcs came from north of the spine of the world but were turned back in great slaughter by the elves. To this day, this is the homeland and stronghold for orcs and similar races. Alright. Melf's Acid Arrow, I guess I'll take that. Let's talk to this reader.
Excuse me, but I'm late for my classes.
Yeah. I've heard that before. Mirror image. History of the Dead 3. We have already read this. It's the history of how Baal Miracle and no, not Miracle. Baal Bane and the third god, I don't know who it is, have came into power. History of the North 6, we already have to read 2 through 5, so I'm not going to take that. 7. 8.
If it bleeds, I'll do it.
Oh, chromatic orb. I'll take that. Let's see if Quail needs any of these scrolls. If not, we'll put them in the... Okay. not a matter. Not a
Yes,
problem,
Lord.
I mean. Okay, did I check this bookshelf? Yeah. Shadowdale 12. 13. Tathir. I don't remember if we've read this. I think we have. Maybe not. This might be interesting because it's a recent development in the history of the Forgotten Realms, and the one that is going on right now when we are playing the game. So we should read this probably. For the past 1,500 years, Tathir has had a strong royal family ruling with absolute power. When a king died or became incapacitated, his oldest son took the throne. As the family trees to those close to power became more intertwined and complicated, there were the inevitable wars of succession and bickering over which second cousin was the true heir to the throne. Civil wars were brief, however, and once the fighting was over, the system returned to normal, until the next major dispute in a few hundred years or so. The established reoccurring cycle was broken 10 years ago. The current ruling family had been in power for over 350 years, so long that they had dropped their own family name centuries ago. No one even remembers it now, and simply call themselves Tathir. King Almander IV was comfortably ruling the castle Tathir, ruling from Castle Tathir, and the country seemed happy enough. But there was a broad current of dissatisfaction among the people of Tathir. Non-humans were forbidden by law to own land, and since most rights and privileges accorded citizens were based on land ownership, they became second-class citizens as well. Things were especially bad for elves, who were driven deep into the forest of Tathir by royal armies. Almander IV took land away from rightful owners and gave it to nobles who promised larger contributions to the royal treasury. These social and economic inequities, coupled with several harsh winters and bad harvests in a row, made the time ripe for a change. It takes more than just a couple of lousy winters to depose a king, however. It takes treachery as well. In the case of the fall of House Tathir, it took an ambitious general and an impatient royal heir. Prince Almander grew tired of waiting for the robust Almander IV to make room for him. So he struck a deal with General Nashram Sharboneth, commander of the king's largest army. While Sharboneth marched his army toward Tathir, bringing along a sizable group of angry peasants recruited with the promise of land reform, the would-be Almander V downplayed alarming reports from the king's spies and advisors, silencing the most persistent permanently through murder or exile. By the time Sharboneth's army arrived and laid siege to Castle Tathir, it was too late for loyalists to help. As Sharboneth launched a direct assault on the castle, using expendable peasants as shock troops, a handful of elite soldiers let in a secret entrance by the prince, would eliminate Kree guards and open the gates. At the same time, the prince, one of the people allowed to see the king directly, would murder his father. A fire set by the elite troops would destroy evidence of treachery. The general and the prince would emerge from the conflagration and announce a new joint government. The plan was executed perfectly, but up only to a point. Sharboneth double-crossed the prince. His men were too efficient in settling the castle ablaze, and Prince Alamander, along with most of his fellow conspirators, died horribly in the fire. Well, I don't know how the prince didn't see that coming, because I wouldn't think the general would like to share his rule with him if he can just murder him. And there was nothing stopping him from murdering the prince. At about the same time, a spy planted on the general's inner staff by the equally duplicitous Alamander murdered the general and dissolved his body with a powerful acid before anyone could come to his aid. Alright, so there is a bunch of double and triple crossing going about. To make matters worse, everyone had underestimated the resentment of the people, the people felt for the royal family. Once Castle Tathir began to fall, there was no holding back the mob. In one night, the proudest, strongest castle in all the country was reduced to smoking ruin. Everything of value, fine tapestries, plates and silverware, furniture, jewelry, weapons, clothes, armor, paintings, statues and so on, was either stolen, burned, or just ripped apart and stomped into the dust. As news of the fall of the royal family spread, so did the chaos. In what is now known as the 10 Black Days of Elaint, anyone known or even suspected of blood connection to the royal family was put to the sword. This led to some darkly humorous moments, as social climbers who had bragged just a week before of being a sixth cousin twice removed of a royal aunt, tried in a way to convince an angry mob that they were only kidding. The nobles who were the biggest supporters of the royal family also came under attack, and some baronial keeps fell. Local leaders who had adequately distanced themselves from the Tathir family, or were popular enough or feared strong enough, survived. The surviving nobles became the initial players in the fight to decide the fate of Tathir. One thing was certain: any leader or type of government that was too closely resembled the rule under the Tathirs would not be accepted. Royalist became a dirty word in Tathir society. The power struggle continues to this day, and there is no sign of it ending anytime soon. So that was very interesting. I haven't seen any mention of the current uprising there. I forget the name, but I think there is a demi-human uprising in Tathir that is destroying the countryside. Alright, let's continue on. History of the North 2. Did I read 1? I already forget. History of the North, the Crown Wars. Oh yeah, I think I've read this. But not the second one. Humans immigrated in bands from the Shining Sea and up to the Sword Coast. They became seafarers, striking out across the waves to the Moonshaes, Mintarn, Ruathim, and the Northern Islands. Elves engaged in an unceasing war against each other, with the humans and orcs taking over the resulting ruins. Perhaps the greatest calamity to befall the fair folk was the Dark Disaster, a killing magic that took the form of a dark burning cloud. It enshrouded the kingdom of Miaritar, and when it faded away some months later, not an elf lived, nor were trees left, or an open blasted moor. Only an open blasted moor, the High Moor. All was not dark for the elves, although in retreat as barbarian humans and orc hordes grew in strength. Their power rose in the Elven Court and Everesca, remaining a stronghold to this day. They conceived of cooperation between dwarves, kindly humans, and other elves for mutual survival against orcs, marauding humans and a tide of beasts, ogres, bugbears, trolls, goblins, gnolls, and other non-human creatures, led by the rising power of giants. Astonishingly, in at least 3 places, the fallen kingdoms and the cities of Silvery Moon and Myth-Draenor, they succeeded with shining grace. To the east, on the sandy shores of the calm and shining narrow sea, the human villages grew into small towns and then joined together as the nation of Netheril. Sages believed that the fishing towns were unified by a powerful human wizard who had discovered a book of great magic power that had survived the days of thunder, a book that legends called the Nether Scrolls. Under this nameless wizard and those who followed, Netheril rose in power and glory, becoming both the first human land in the north and the most powerful. Some say that this discovery marked the birth of human wizardry, since before then mankind had only shamans and witch doctors. For over 3,000 years Netheril dominated the north, but even its legendary wizards were unable to stop their final doom. Alright, so that's the history of Netheril, I guess. History of the North 3, I don't think I will read the entire series, as that would require literal hours of my time and yours. Last March of the Giants, I'll take that. Luck, okay. Let's take a look at this. History of the last march of the giants. East of the Great Rift, in the eastern Shar, once stood a land of the Titans. This empire rose at the dawn of time in Faerun, and its lords thought to challenge the gods in their arrogance. In punishment, the powers cursed the reigning monarch of the land with fascination and his brethren with devotion. The powers then dropped a star onto the land. The impact of the fallen star created a huge valley later known as the Sea of the Fallen Stars. Slowly picking up speed, the ball rolled through the Titan nation and onward to the south. Unable to contain his curiosity, the Titan King ran off after the bouncing sphere, and his devoted followers dutifully followed his tracks. The meteorite, I don't know how to pronounce that, the meteorite rolled on and on until it reached the Great Sea and vanished into the depths. The monarch dove into the sea, and lemming-like, the entire Titan race dove in after him, never to be seen again. Oh, so there are no Titans left in Faerun? It sounds like that's the case. Ashamed at the destruction they had wrought, the powers vowed to keep both curiosity and loyalty firmly in check to avoid such disasters in the future. They have done so to this day, preventing both new ideas from being pursued with any speed and the intelligent races of Toril from ever fully cooperating. So yeah, that sounds more legend than reality, but you know, it's interesting nonetheless. Dales and the Elven Court, we have already read that. Hello.
I should have joined the army.
No one here for over a month, and now there's a wave of ye. I'm hardly new here, Watcher. Now rein it in your tongue, lest I inform the Great Warden. A wave, is it? Anyone from the Iron Throne? Iron Throne? Aye, Rialtar and Brunos are their names. They are in the central keep meeting with Tooth and Castor, Knights of the Shield. Alright, so this is new information here. Rialtar and Brunos are the two guys from the Iron Throne. We've already known that, but we didn't know that they were meeting with this Tooth and Castor, who are Knights of the Shield. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't quite sound as ominous as the Iron Throne.
These walls contain the world's knowledge.
Hello, I am the level coordinator. Is there anything I can help you with? No, I don't need your help. Could you tell me where I can find Thoril? I was wondering where I could find Ulround. Let's go with number 2. Where is Thoril? Thoril is a very busy man, and I don't keep track of his schedule. Sorry.
Wisdom is only possessed by the learned.
What about Ulround? You can find Ulround in his apartment on the 6th floor. I wouldn't bother him there, though he doesn't like unannounced intrusions. Alright. History of the Chosen of Mistra. We already have read about that.
Wisdom is only possessed by the learned.
Another dancing monk.
No, excuse me, but I'm late for my classes.
Alright. History of the Bell in the Depths. I don't think we've read this, did we? One of the great and mysterious sites in the Moonsea area. Oh, we have. This is the bell that rings. It's a ghost bell of some sort. I think we've read this. So yeah, I won't read it right now. Alright. So I think that's it for this episode. We have managed to explore another area of the Candlekeep Library. This takes a long while because you know, there are a bunch of books that I'm interested in reading. But you know, that's fine. It's part of the game. For now, I will end this episode here, and in the next one we will continue exploring the library, starting with the 3rd floor. So, for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.